We should always develop a passion to learn because if we do, we will never cease to grow. Once again, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the afternoon session of our In-Service Training 2020 with the theme Embracing Challenges, Bridging Gaps, Improving Productivity. At this point of time, let us now ask the guidance from the Lord for our prayer, followed by the Makabayan song.
Life may be. There's no other hope that I can lean upon. Lead me, Lord, lead me all my life. Walk by me across the lonely road of every day. Take my arms and let your hand show me the way. Show the way to live inside your love. Lead me, Lord, all my life. You are my light, you're the lamp upon my feet. All the time, my Lord, I need you there. You are my life, I cannot live alone. Let me stay by your guiding love all through my life. Lead me, Lord. Even though at times I'd rather go along my way, help me take the right direction, take your road. Lead me, Lord, and never leave my side. All my days, all my life. You are my light, you're the lamp upon my feet. All the time, my Lord, I need you there. You are my life, I cannot live alone. Let me stay by your guiding love all through my life. You are my light, you're the lamp upon my feet. All the time, my Lord, I need you there. You are my light, I cannot live alone. Let me stay by your guiding love all through my life, all through my days. Lead me, Lord, all my life. Ako'y anak ng lupang hinirang. Ako'y anak ng lupang Ako'y anak ng lupang hinirang, kung saan matatagpuan ang pinyas ng belas ng silangan. iyong kapuluan. Taglay ko ang hiwaga ng silangan, at saan mang bayan lungsod, maging timog, hilaga at kanluran, ang Pilipino ay namumukod. Sama-sama nating abutin pinagkamatayong nabituin, at ang aking tagumpay, tagumpay ng aking lahi, tagumpay ng aking lipi, ang tanging binimithi at hinahangad. Hangat ko'y tagumpay nating lahat. Ako ay may isang munting pangarap sa aking dakilang lupain, at sa sama-sama nating pagsisikap, sama-sama rin mararating ang iba't ibang alaw, iisang patutunguhan. Dito isang araw, isang kapuluan, sama-sama nating abutin pinagkamatayong nabituin, at ang ating tagumpay, tagumpay ng ating lahi, tagumpay ng aking lipi, ang tanging minimithi at hinahangad. Hangat ko'y tagumpay nating lahat. Hangat ko'y tagumpay natin lahat.
Once again, good afternoon. Truly, tagumpay at hangad nating lahat na maging successful ang ating INSET 2020. At this time, let's energize ourselves. So, unat-unat po tayo lahat. And let's have our energizer for this afternoon.
takes it. You know I won't drop like everybody else does.
Wow, thank you so much, Ulabok team, our champion during our Teachers Month celebration. That's Ula, Tugbok, and Los Amigos. Once again, thank you so much for a very nice energizer for this afternoon. Before we start with our first session, let's read first some shout outs coming from our teacher participants for this afternoon. May I have now the shout out, teachers? Okay, let's start with Ma'am Juda Aguirre. Good afternoon po, teachers watching from Tagakpan National High School. Hello, good afternoon, Tagakpan National High School teachers. We have another shout out. We have from Jangjang Pundok. Good afternoon from Diao National High School. We have also from Gomersinda Garay. Good afternoon from Carmen Integrated School. Another, our most active participant so far. We have from Sir Daniel O. Sevillan of Ohilay National High School. Hello. Another shout out from Maricho Fuentes. Good afternoon from New Valencia Integrated School. Hello from our integrated school. Welcome to our Cluster 6 INSET 2020. At this point of time, we will be giving awards to those teachers who registered themselves ahead compared to the others. At this point, let me call in Miss Maria Christine O. Mejias for the top 5 I Am Watch Advocate.
Thank you so much, Sir Jason. At this moment, we will give recognition to our top 5 Watch awardees for the two categories, teachers and school heads. So, let's start with the teachers category. First, we have De Los Reyes Rochelle Lyra B. from Mintal Comprehensive High School. Ayan. Okay, second, we have Gentiles Eunice R. of Optasiano Hilay National High School. Third, we have Hernandez Dan Marl M. of Santo Niño National High School. Fourth, we have Sardido Cedric John from Mintal Comprehensive High School. And lastly, we have Ma'am Lino Daisy B. of Mintal Comprehensive High School. Congratulations! Ayan. So now let's have our school heads. Okay? Ayan, palakpakan naman dyan. All right. Now for the school head category. So, Sir Jason, this is the very first time we will be giving recognition to our school heads, no? So, first in line,
Wow.
we have Ma'am Leia M. Camilotas of Mintal Comprehensive High School. Second, we have Sir Rodrigo Canayong of Emilio J. Estepona National High School. Third, we have Christopher Labastida, the school head of MCHS Bago Shira National High School. Fourth, we also have Sir Judivan Abadia of Matina Biao National High School. And lastly, the school head of Los Amigos National High School, Sir Raul Kabilugan. Ayan po. So indeed, no, in cluster 6, we advocate time consciousness and honesty. Congratulations once again. Thank you, Sir Jason.
Much, Ma'am Maria Christine O. Mejias. Thank you and congratulations, of course, to our teacher awardees for the Be Advocate Time, Consciousness, and Honesty. And for the first time, we give award also to our school heads. And congratulations to all our awardees. I believe that everyone learned a lot of things in the morning session. And I believe also that this afternoon, a lot of things that we need to learn so that when we go back to our respective schools, we can give insights and, of course, we can give additional inputs for our learners. At this point of time, let me introduce first our, yeah, again, let's, of course, we should not forget uh, registering ourselves in our attendance provided on your screen. And I would like to remind everyone, once you will register yourself, please use the email ad of the Division of Davao City because once you receive your certificate, it will be emailed to your DepEd email. Again, thank you. And this time, our speaker for this afternoon will be discussing about DepEd Order 31 Series of 2020 or the Interim Guidelines for Assessment and Grading in Light of the Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan. Our speaker for this afternoon is a graduate of Bachelor of Secondary Education major in Mathematics, graduated at Davao Central College, Toril, Davao City. He also a graduate of Master of Arts in Education, major in Teaching Mathematics at University of Mindanao, Davao City. A graduate of Doctor of Education, major in Educational Management, still in the same institution, University of Mindanao Professional Schools, Davao City. Ladies and gentlemen, a senior high school master teacher, our speaker for this afternoon, Dr. Norman Galabo. Sir, good afternoon, sir. We have a very competent speaker for this afternoon. I believe that he can share a lot of things for us to improve our teaching learning processes. Again, good afternoon and welcome Dr. Norman Galabo, our speaker for this afternoon. Sir,
Okay, so thank you, Sir Jason. And again, good afternoon, Cluster 6. Welcome to our session for this afternoon. So we are already oriented, maybe. This morning, we have learned something about stressors, right? So my topic might be one of them. well, anyway, my topic for this afternoon is very important because it talks about DepEd order. No, this is a mandate from our department that we need to follow, and we should be guided by how do we assess our learners in this new normal. So let me share my slide. No, so this afternoon, pwede na ta matulog. Okay, so we will discuss DepEd Order number 31, Series 2020. So this is actually interim guidelines for assessment and grading in light of the Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan. So I know that we are about to end. Actually, we have ended already our quarter one, but still there are still teachers who do not know about this DepEd order. That is why we should be oriented, and we should be familiar, no, of this DepEd order. So I will discuss the following topics: the rationale, the scope, the definition of terms, policy statement, procedures, conducting assessment remotely, feedback and remediation, grading and promotion, role of technology, monitoring and evaluation, effectivity, and the annexes. So we will run through the entire DepEd Order number 31 series of 2020. So if you have noticed, this is actually an interim guideline. So meaning to say this is just applicable for this moment, no, for the meantime, for this new normal. Meaning to say that the previous DepEd order pertaining to the assessment is still in effect. Okay, so next slide. So this DepEd order no, was issued on October 2, 2020 with 256 pages. So baga kayo ni siya nga DepEd order. So it is anchored on DepEd Order number 12, Series 2020, adoption of the Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan for school year 2020-2021 in light of the COVID-19 pandemic. So I know we have heard a lot of times about the Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan. So if we have enough time, let's try to read this BELC, because this is actually our Bible for this new normal. So we will be guided with this BELC, or Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan. And it is where our DepEd Order number 31 is anchored on. So it supplements the said DO to provide guidance on the assessment of student learning on the grading scheme to be adopted this school year. So this policy shall be implemented in all public elementary and secondary schools nationwide for school year 2020-2021. So while DepEd Order number 8, Series 2015, policy guidelines on classroom assessment for the K-12 basic education program still in effect, provisions inconsistent with these new guidelines are suspended for this school year. So let me start with the rationale. So this is actually because of the threat of the COVID-19 pandemic. So that is why the Department of Education, our department, is really um, um, trying to adjust with the new normal and trying to overcome. And there are a lot of changes in our department because of this, especially our system for today. So it is also stated in DepEd Order number 8, Series 2015, the policy guidelines in classroom assessment for the K-12 basic education program. Assessment should be used to inform and to improve classroom practices and promote learning outcome. However, in this distance or blended learning environments, it is necessary to utilize alternative tools and strategies for assessment and supporting learning. So I know we have a lot of questions in our minds. How do we record the output, the performances of our learners? How do we rate them? What is the grading system? No? So we have a lot of questions. So this DepEd order will answer, no? Hopefully will answer all our questions or our queries pertaining to the assessment of our learners. And we need to bear in mind it is clearly no repeated for how many times in the DepEd order that DepEd order number 8 is still in effect. Meaning to say, yung previous natin na DepEd order pertaining to the K-12 basic education program assessment no still in effect. Meaning to say, effective pa yon na ginagamit natin. However, there are changes. No, later we will know what are those changes, particularly in the computation of grades or the components of computing the grades for all grade levels. So next, for the scope, this DepEd order provides for the interim policy guidelines for assessment and grading in light of the basic education learning continuity plan. Meaning to say, as what I have said, it is only designed for this school year. No, this is only an interim policy. Private schools, technical and vocational institutions, and higher education institutions, including state and local universities and colleges offering the K-12 basic education program, are encouraged to implement this interim policy. So next, so for the definition of terms, so I need not to elaborate this one because we are familiar with this. We have the classroom assessment, the formative assessment, the summative assessment, and as well as the grading. So I would just like to emphasize that we are still now using this one and utilizing this one. The classroom assessment now pertaining to ongoing processes in identifying, gathering, or organizing and interpreting quantitative and qualitative information. And I will also present some of the example of the tools for the classroom assessment, the formative assessment, and the summative assessment. It is highlighted, no, that summative assessment is an assessment that is usually administered toward the end of the learning period to measure the extent to which the learner have mastered the essential learning competencies, the results of which are recorded. So we all know that summative test should be or assessment should be recorded. So you might heard, no, that there is no exam or quarterly exam, but we will have our quarterly assessment. So the grading is the way of reporting assessment data. So meaning to say, um, before the start of this, during or on the onset of the pandemic, we have we questioned already, no? Do we still have to use the numerical grades? Yes, the answer is still yes. So we will be using the grading system. That's what we have. You have heard that DepEd Order number 8 is still in effect. So meaning to say we will be having our numerical grades. However, there are changes to some of the components of the computation of grades. So the next one is the policy statement. So the DepEd is committed to ensure educational continuity in this time of crisis while looking after the health, safety, and well-being of all its learners, teachers, and personnel. Schools must adopt assessment and grading practices um, that can most meaningfully support students' development and respond to varied contexts at this time. So while we are pursuing or we are continuing our education and we continue to open the class for the school year, it is highlighted by this step and order that we still value the importance of our health, our safety, and well-being of all its learners, the teachers, and all its personnel. And this policy is grounded on the following principles. So we have here the assessment should be holistic, authentic, it should be integral, no? This is actually the basic principle of the assessment that we are applying in DepEd. And assessment and feedback should be a shared responsibility among teachers, learners, and their families. Assessment and grading should have a positive impact on learning. So that is why we need to take note of this, no, statement of a policy with this DepEd order. Another is teachers, school leaders, learners, and parents must commit to uphold the integrity of learning and instruction in the context of distance education. The main desired outcomes of this policy are number one, to ensure that all learners are fairly assessed and graded in the continuation of education during this health crisis, and to emphasize that learning standards shall be attained with the provision of reasonable leniency. Take note of the word reasonable leniency and consideration for possible difficulties met by the learner. During this time of pandemic, in terms of the assessment, no, of our learners, no, we should be take note of the word reasonable leniency. observe leniency as to the requirement, the submission requirements. Now, there are cases that our learners could not submit their modules on time, so we need to consider them. No, if they cannot get their modules on time, contact them. So there are a lot of things to be done by the teacher, no, in reaching out to these learners, and we need not to be so strict, no, in time of this pandemic in terms of submission of the requirements, submission of their output, submission of their modules or answer sheets, no, because we need to observe this reasonable leniency and be considerate, no, especially that our learners also are having difficulties, no, in their respective homes. Not only the teachers are having difficulties, but most importantly, we need to consider also our learners. Another is the procedure. So I will just run through with this one. So distance learning poses challenges for teachers and learners in the conduct of assessment, including limitation on giving immediate feedback and the need to account for different contexts in designing, implementing, and grading assessment tasks. So meaning to say that because of this new approach that we are doing now, it is really a big challenge on the part of the teachers, particularly the assessment. Our number one question is how do we give, no, uh, grades, no, or rate our students in this time of pandemic when in fact some could not submit, no, some are using digital submission of their outputs, some are printed, no, some are just informing us via text or via email, no. There are a lot of different modalities, no. So those are just challenges, no, on how do we address them. So to address these challenges, number one, for the teachers for this school year, particular focus will be given to the following. Number one, designing the assessment to allow for flexibility in multiple modalities, meaning to say we should provide opportunities for our different learners, no, whether they are in digital, in soft copy, hard copy, printed copy. So we need to cater them, and we should provide appropriate assessment tool for this. And communicating to learners and parents, guardians, the design and standards for grading the assessment. Ideally, we should inform our parents as to how do we compute the grades, how do we assess them, no? So they should be informed. In setting up mechanism to monitor and record progress remotely. So I know the teachers are doing this one. We are now monitoring. Actually, we are doing some mechanism. Some would use the Google form, no? Some would use online platform. Some would use also the e-class record, no? Or maybe some other they are making their own initiative on how to come up with a mechanism to monitor and record progress remotely. So setting up mechanism. Then next is giving timely, constructive, and relevant feedback and facilitating remediation for learners who need further guidance. So if in case that there are learners who cannot submit their outputs or their modules, their answer sheets, no, there must be a particular or those students at risk. So hindi ibig sabihin na we are in the new normal, lahat pasado na, no. Usually our thinking would be that way na in this health crisis that we are experiencing now, we think that possibly all learners will pass, no, but it's not that simple as that will pass, no, automatic. So meaning to say, for those who cannot, or for those who submitted their output or performance task, then and yet they failed, maybe they failed, then there must be something that is to be done by the teacher through making remediation. That is why if you have noticed, you have that individual learning plan, no, monitoring plan, meaning to say we need to monitor each learner, whether they are doing the right track, you know, they are submitting on time their output, their performance tasks, their answer sheets, you know, and how are their scores. So Kumbaga, kung kadtong mga tabangunon na kaayo mo to ang kinahanglan nato taga-remediation. So follow up them. If we cannot reach them out through call or Facebook or chat whatsoever, then we need to do something maybe, no, to contact other, no, persons that would somehow help you to reach them out. Next is for the learners. Learners are expected to be proactive in updating their teacher of their situation, progress, and challenges encountered. So I know that our learners are informing us, no? They are chatting us, sir, na di mi makapasa sir kay wala internet karon, inay among kuan sir. Sir, nag-lockdown mi diri sir. Sir, nagkuan mi diri, so daghan kay sila. So that is their actually their role, no, to inform us and to inform us what are their challenges, no, especially, or what are their difficulties in performing the different tasks or answering the modules. So it is actually suggested here to have this self-monitoring tool. So later I will show you what is this self-monitoring tool. So good for the schools who apply this one, no, who have made this one, oh, the self-monitoring tool. But it is highlighted here, it is not required to accomplish the self-monitoring tool, but its usage is highly recommended. So our new term now, it is not required but highly recommended to keep track the learner's academic progress. Meaning to say, the part of the learners, they are said to be na they are tasked, supposed to be to answer, no, the self-monitoring tool. Later we'll show you na the form. We have the evaluation coming from the students, the parents, and the teachers, no, in terms of the self-monitoring tool. It is where they will give their feedback, no, their challenges, no, whatever their situations they are into, no, or maybe the progress of their performance, no, they will write that in this self-monitoring tool. For the parents and guardians, DepEd aims to develop independent learners who can study and work on the assessments on their own. So it is highlighted that the parents and the guardians are said to be will give only guidance and support to their learners. They will not be the one to answer the exercises, the activities, and the modules. It is clearly highlighted. I know we have emphasized that one during the orientation of parents before we start the school year, that their role is simply, no, to support their learners, support their students, to guide them. If they can assist them in explaining maybe the problems na, in the modules, the story maybe in the modules, then they can do that. But never that they will be the one to answer the modules. But we do not know in real practices, because it's beyond our control as teacher, no, whether they have answered, no, the parents or the guardians are the one answering their modules. But we need to encourage them that it is not a good practice that they will be the one to answer the modules. And only when necessary, parents, guardians are requested to assist in the assessment process. So the good thing here is that we need to communicate to our parents. We need to inform them of the performance of their learners. So basic thing that we are doing, no, actually we are doing this one, no. We communicate to parents. We inform them na, ma'am and sir, no, Mrs. ang imong anak wala na nagpasa og module, wala na ni siya nagpakita duha na ka week, no. So kanang ang mga butang ato nang gina-explain, ginapasabot nato sa atong mga ginikanan. So the grading also will be explained, no. How do we rate our learners, no? Kasi ang nangyayari ngayon, yung mga parents, they are asking, no, kasi nga may mga answer sheets, no. We have also experienced that one, that there is a parent who said na, sir, nganong na may answer sheet, no, mabuko na akong answer key, no. So di makatunan sa anak na may answer key. So kailangan yun na i-explain sa atong mga parents na nganong na answer key ang mga modules, no, self-learning modules. So I hope na inyo nang na further explain to those parents na wa pag yun kayo nakasabot, no? Especially during the retrieval of the answer sheets, no? If you can find time or opportunity to talk to these parents, so that would be better for them, for you to explain, no? So next is the planning, the assessment. Teachers need to be creative and flexible in assessing student learning, no? While still adhering to the principles of quality assessment practice. With safety, health, and well-being foremost in mind, assessment decisions must be made in the best interest of all learners, ensuring that all assessment activities, number one, align with the most essential learning competencies. They are reliable, valid, and transparent. Assessment activities are fair, inclusive, equitable, practical, manageable for both learners and teachers, give learners a range of ways to demonstrate their learning, and provide timely and accurate information as basis for feedback. Now, in distance learning modalities, teachers shall design assessments bearing the assumption that the learners will asynchronously take them and have open access to various sources. So, meaning to say, we need to observe this, no, especially in the assessment activities. Basic thing that we should emphasize that we need to be fair in giving the grades. We should be it should be anchored on the most essential learning competencies. It must be reliable. It must be valid. So I know you know this thing already. Next, so when deciding on which assessment methods to use, it is important to consider the following. Number one, what is the purpose of the assessment? What will be assessed? No? Which method would best allow learners to demonstrate, no, what they have learned, considering their learning modality, no? So later we will see what are those, no, samples of tools of assessment, whether they are online, they are printed modules, no, blended learning. So we will see that one later. So these are actually your guide questions on how to choose appropriate assessment method. So next, so in order to inform teaching and promote growth and mastery, formative assessment strategies should establish clear learning targets and success criteria, elicit useful evidence of learning, provide timely and effective feedback. No, so these are common thing that we need to bear in mind the planning the assessment. And it says here, um, there are annexes that will be shown later. Formative assessment is about getting better, so it should be specific, frequent, repetitive, and free from restrictions of grading. So I know we are familiar with formative assessment. We are doing this one. Formative assessment shall not be recorded, but it is geared towards, no, the achievement for before you are going to proceed to the summative assessment that will be graded already, recorded and graded. So the formative assessment is only to track, no, students' performance if they have learned the concept already, or if they have mastered already the learning competencies. So next, so to evaluate student learning at particular points in which each quarter, summative assessments shall continue in the form of written works and performance tasks. So I would like to emphasize this one and to highlight this part, no, because this is, no, now the part for the computation of the grades. Now we only have two components here: the written works and performance tasks. Written works shall be administered to assess essential knowledge and understandings through quizzes and long unit tests. Items should be distributed across cognitive process using a combination of selected response, constructed response formats so that all are adequately covered. Meaning to say, if we have the target learning competencies for that particular quarter, for that particular week, then we need to cover them all, no, in making your quizzes or unit test or long test. Performance tasks refer to assessment tasks that allow learners to show what they know and are able to do in diverse ways. They may create or innovate products or performance based tasks, skill demonstration, group presentation, oral work, multimedia presentation, research projects. It is important to note that the written outputs may also be considered as performance tasks. Again, written outputs can be considered as performance tasks. Like for example, giving problem sets, problem solving in math, that can be considered as, though it is written, but it can be considered as performance tasks. Now, what is unique with this new normal today is that the teacher should be open to these different types of assessing our learners. Meaning to say, we should not be uh, traditionally boxed with our old system, no, of giving performance task. Meaning to say, kung ang bata dili siya maka-perform ana katong imong gihatag nga mga activities sa module o nakahimo nga performance task, pwede siya, our learners can make their own, no, in their own context. Na for example, kung mag-bake, dili sila makaluto kung unsa tong mga ingredients kay wala ba sa balay, wala mga oven. So they can innovate, no? Kapa ma-perform lang gyapon to nilang mga procedures. Same sa ilang procedures. So as what I have said, no, reasonable leniency, flexible. No, the teacher should be flexible in giving the assessment also of our learners. We need to consider them in providing, giving them performance tasks. So meaning to say, we need to apply localized material, no, indigenized, no, contextualized, no, so that they can perform the performance task. They can comply the performance task, no, without compromising, no, the quality of the product maybe, no, or their output. So meaning to say, dili kita pwede nga makademand sa bata nga kanira gid imong himuon. If they can perform that one through AVP, audiovisual presentation, through dancing, no, they can do it, no, they can submit that one, so long as they hit the MELCs, or the most essential learning competency. So there are a lot of things to consider, no, especially in giving the performance task, no. If there are, kung magpahimo kag AVP, wala sila material ani, so unsa man lang pwede na mahimo, pwede nimo ipa-essay na lang, no, ipa-narrate na lang nimo, ipasulat, no. So, meaning to say, ang teacher gid mismo ang mangitag paagi nga ma-perform na sa bata. So that is what is meant by this, no, letter P of the planning the assessment, especially in evaluating the student learning, you know, how do we assess them. Next is, so the performance task must be designed to provide opportunities for learners to apply what they are learning to real life situations, no? Teachers should be take consideration that each task must be accompanied with clear directions, meaning to say, when you're going, of course, when you're going to give a performance task, there should be a clear instruction. There must be, no, you need to provide rubrics or rubric. No, later I will explain some of the rubrics, no, the rating scale, how they are rated, no, and for to help the learners demonstrate their learning, no, and for us to be fair and objective in giving the rates or the grades to our learners. Another is, so remember, this is 256 pages, so we are still in number 20. Okay, so Communicating the assessment task. In communicating the assessment task, teachers must ensure that the following details are explained: the objectives of the assessment task, the roles of learners and parents and guardians, the procedure, no, the standard and the rubrics, no. Record of progress, the collection and recording of evidences of learning is integral for monitoring student learning and development. So by the way, there is no, I do not know if there is already, we have seen already some of the um, shared posts, no, regarding the e-class record, no, in the new normal, but I do not see yet, no, the official, no, e-class record, but I know you have some have already downloaded, no? Kasi may mga na nag-share na sa YouTube and other platforms regarding the e-class record. This is one way of recording the progress of um, the learning of our learners. And we are using actually, no, you have here the self-monitoring tool, the check-ins of teacher with learner. No, you can use actually, you can have electronic, no, recording, or you can do the traditional way of recording the class record, no, just to record, no, the scores, the grades of the learners, no, just to track their progress, no, if they will be they are going to pass the subject. Then the evidences of learning in the students learning portfolio. So part of the output actually, no, for our learners, I would like to emphasize this one, is students learning portfolio, evidence of learning. That is why yung mga modules na sinabmit, yung mga answer sheet that should be compiled, no, and to make that one as their students portfolio. Another is for the feedback and remediation to benefit student learning, both formative and summative assessment must be accompanied with timely, constructive, and meaningful feedback based on the learner's record of progress. So in giving feedback, teachers need to maximize available communication options. So it says here, maximize available communication options. You can use texting, no, feedback via SMS, or using online channels, no, Google Forms, no, Google Sheets, and among others. You can use a lot of communication media, no. So we have here Annex F provides a guide to help frame decision and appropriate feedback to learners. And again, it is mentioned here, consistent with DO number 8, series 2015, teachers should ensure that learners receive remediation when they earn raw scores which are consistently below expectation in summative assessments by the fifth week of any quarter. This will prevent a student from failing in any learning area at the end of the school year. That is why whenever we are going to fail our students, our learners, somehow we will be questioned. Why? Because we are asked to give remediation before you give the final grade, no? Meaning to say you have tracked already the progress of that particular learner. So meaning to say, the question now is, what have you done with that particular learner? Kaya nabagsak man siya. Wala daw nakapasa sa module, nag-reach out ba ka, nag-text ba ka, nagtawag ba ka sa parents? So, ingon anak ta ka, for this time of pandemic, we should be flexible, we should be lenient, no? Especially in giving the assessment to our learners. So it says here, this will prevent a student from failing in any learning area at the end of the year. So meaning to say, kung makita na nato nga murag pabagsak na ning bata, tabangon na siya. No? Tabangan siya kay para maka-recover, para di siya mabagsak at the end of the school year. So ang na ang ato ang kumbaga ang hagit sa ato ang mga magtutudlo, no? Tabangan na to ang mga bata. That is why actually this DepEd order is also designed, no, not actually to fail our learners, but to help them, no, and provide them good and quality assessment. So fair, no, justifiable assessment in as much as possible. The next one is the grading and promotion, no, the challenges brought to light by this coronavirus pandemic, specifically the implementation of different distance learning. It says here, the grading system implemented in this interim policy provides reasonable leniency to learners. No? So, gibalik na po diri ang term, reasonable leniency. In other words, magets nyo na ang magets. No? Sinasabi ng DepEd ng ating central office. No? Reasonable leniency to learners who are put to a large disadvantage by this pandemic. So, kung ang mga teachers, if we are suffering no difficulties, how much more to our learners in which they do not have anything, maybe gadgets, no? They are said to be larger disadvantage by this pandemic. But at the end, at the same does not compromise the integrity and principles of assessment and grading. So hopefully we can avoid no, but of course when kumbaga ang notion nato ba na pasado na maginatanan kinsa may mabagsak rong panahon na no. It says here, let us not compromise the integrity and principles of assessment and grading. If we think that they deserve to pass, then we should give them what is due to them, no? Pero katug yung mga wala na gyud igo lang nagpa-enroll atong October ko ano, igo lang yun, wala na gyud nagpakita, murag di pud siya angay nga ipasar na lang gyud diretso. Na wala na koy kwag module. Mag Christmas party na lang, wala pa yung module nakuha, no? Murag lisod po kayo. So meaning to say, however, we are encouraged, no? We are really, no, encouraged to have that flexible, no? We should have that reasonable leniency in terms, meaning to say, tagaan yun ito higayon na maka-provide sila output, makapasa sa ilahang mga kuan. Wala kita iset nga strict na deadline nga diha lang yung taman. Because they are suffering a lot of difficulties, no? There are a lot of challenges also suffered by our learners. Then, written works and performance tasks shall be administered to assess the content and performance standards and that describe the knowledge, the abilities. So you can read that one, no? Students' learning portfolio that documents all the evidences of learning within the grading period. Ang pangutana nako, nag-require na bata sa atong mga bata og students' learning portfolio sa mga wala pa makahabol pa ta og post sa atong mga GCs and inform our learners na i-keep ang ilang mga answer sheets, no? Intact ang mga modules or output or performance task output, written works kay that will be compiled and that will be for their students learning portfolio, of course with the corresponding rubrics that we need to follow in rating their portfolio. It says here by rubrics and self selected best outputs in learning modules. Meaning to say, kung may mga nakikita tayo na mga best output, no, then we can keep them and we can show them, no, showcase their outputs, best outputs in the learning modules. Then minimum of 4. Importante kayo na letter B. Unta na ta pila man day ang required, no? Sa una bitaw pila day required na quizzes, pila day required mo man ang pangutana sa teacher, no, kay na may ubang teacher nga isa o duha lang nagrado na. So murag dili mao. So mao ni ang ato ang tubag diri. Minimum of 4 written works and 4 performance tasks within the quarter. Preferably 1 in 2 weeks. No? Integrating 2 or more competencies. Meaning to say, we should have at least 4 performance tasks and 4 written works. All competencies should be covered by the performance task. Now, a performance task can be used to assess science, math, and all other subject areas. So take note of that, 4 written works and 4 performance tasks. So at least 4. So sir, kung 10 among gihimo, kuya kay mo kay naka 10 gyud mo no amid this pandemic. 4 lang, at least 4. So at least 4 performance tasks and 4 written works. So next slide. So you have here the table. I will explain the table. So for distribution of summative assessment components per learning area for grade 1 to 10. So you have here the written works. So what I have said, there are only 2 components, no, for the computation of grades. We only have the written works and the performance task. So for language and AP or ASP, 40% written works, 60% performance task. For science and math, 50-50. No? Makuyawan taan in science and math, kay 50-50 good ni sila, no? To 50-50, 50% written works, 50% performance task. For MAPE, EPP and TLE, 30% written works, 70% performance task. So next, for the senior high school, now this is the weight distribution on the summative assessment components for senior high school. For written works, kasi we have 3 types of subjects here. For example, the core subjects, you can have 40% written works, performance task 60%. For the academic track, all other subjects in the academic track, 40% and 60%. For work immersion, that will be this coming second semester, work immersion, research, business enterprise simulation, exhibit, and for performance, 50-50. 50% written works and 50% performance task. For the TVL, no, we have 30% written works and 70% performance tasks. No, actually, the challenge now lies, no, in the TVL and TLE, because there are questions. How do the students perform the different tasks, no? Kung magluto sila, no, mag-welding sila, saon man na, no, wala man sila welding machine sa ilang balay, no, wala sila sa EIM, no, murag mo na ang hagit kaayo sa atong mga TVL and TLE teachers, no? And also with the work immersion, no, how do we conduct the work immersion this time, work immersion for this school year, no, particularly this coming second semester. Next. So we have here, this is actually the sample, no, of the computation of grades. You have there the written works, the performance tasks, no, for written works, for performance tasks. Then you have now the grade. No? For example, in this learner A, ang grade niya 88. So please bear in mind, we only transmute once. We only transmute the total score. So in other words, we do not transmute the grades, no, in the written work and in the performance task. Transmutation happens only once, and that is during in the initial grade or total score. I guess pag 60 ang score, that is 75 already, no? Kung below 60 na ang mga score, mo to siyang 74 and below na ang grade. Kay murag naa pay mga teachers ani nga naga-practice nga diha pa lang daan sa written work, ilahan ang i-transmute, no, raw score lang gyud ta diha ng written work and performance task. Kaisa lang ta mag-transmute dito na ta sa total score to come up with their final grade for that particular quarter. Next. So these are actually samples. This time for TLE, for MAPE, the computation of grades, you have 30, 70%. So you might ask, sir, asa man ibutang karon diya kung mag-exam mi? Napay mga quarterly assessment. Tama ba ko? Naa. So asa man na siya mabutang? Magpili ka. Pwede nimo ibutang na siya sa written work. Pwede po siya dito ibutang sa performance task. If you think na mas bugat siya, mas comprehensive ang imong gi-prepare na assessment, na katong murag test, quarterly test or assessment, pwede ka mag-decide nga i-performance task to siya or pwede po siya i-written work. No? But normally sa written work siya masulod, no? Pero kung as what I have said, kung nag-prepare ka og test na 70 items, 80 items, murag taas-taas man na siya, murag bugat-bugat, pwede na to tagaan siya sa performance task. Then, the transmutation table, no, as what I have said, it is used. The role of technology, no. Okay, next. Technology plays a substantial role in helping teachers in the development, communication, implementation, and grading of assessment tasks. Meaning to say, this is actually our aid, no? O gini makatabang nato for this new normal, and even not the new normal previously, no? Technology helps a lot, no? The computerized grading system, electronic grading system, no? That would also lessen our burden in computing the grades. So let me show you the example or sample tools organized, no, by low, medium, high technology. High technology is provided in Annex G. So the next slide, this is the content of the Annex G. I do not know if you have seen this one. So you have here for the teacher, for example, the low technology, the medium technology, and the high technology. Usually, if you're going to analyze this one, the high technology pertains to the online. Basically, online in nature. Lahat online na. Pero itong mga low technology, medium technology, no, we are not saying na asa dili ang teacher na bilong. Asa man ka na bilong, ma'am and sir? Naka sa low technology, sa medium technology, high technology. So ma-expect kita nga naata tanan ana, no? Na, obviously kung naka high technology na ta, meaning niagi na ta ani diri. Usually mga asynchronous and synchronous, no, na approaches na apply nato diri sa kaning part, no, nga gi-present. So we have here for the low technology, no, you have your feedback pop up, no, kato mga sa unang panahon ni siya, no, pero ginagamit gyapon ni namang yung mga outputs na kailangan na ang low technology, or you can have also the medium technology. I know mag-guess naman na ninyo diha kaysa klaro man diha sa presentation sa table. Next. So for the monitoring and evaluation, I would like to emphasize in this part, no, actually the monitoring also shall be done by the school heads, no. They're responsible in the monitoring on how, what is the progress of implementing this effort order, na sunod ba tanan, no. Muna siya ang role, no, of the school head. Of course, to disseminate, to inform the teachers, no, unsa ning mga kabaguhan karon sa ato ang assessment, no, with this policy, DO 31 series 2020, no. Makuyawan ta kung ang atong mga school head, no, wa pud kabalo unsa ning DO 31 series 2020, but for sure sila man na ang unang nga nakabasa ani, no. So I believe na nakascade na, no, to their teachers kay mag first quarter mag-end naman pag January ni submission of grades na siguro, no. So they are the ones responsible for the monitoring and evaluation of this, and they will report this one to the division office, to the regional office, and to the central office. And next is, so the effectivity. Now this order shall take effect immediately upon its approval and shall remain in force and in effect for the duration of school year 2020-2021. Meaning to say, we are expecting maybe but that next school year 2021-2022 will have another order. So this shall be registered now. So DO, again, it is reiterated again. DO number 8, Series 2015, the policy guidelines on the classroom assessment, still in effect. If you have noticed, katulo na siya gibalik-balik. Kaya nga naman, no, kapasig na mo lihis ba nga, what na to ibisa ang DO number 8, kay DO number 31 na ang sundo nato. No, in effect yapon, because this guidelines and DO 31 is only an interim policy guidelines. Next. So these are samples, no, of techniques for each formative assessment strategy. If you have there the first column, the strategy, the asynchronous, the synchronous. Oh, just read that one. So these are actually samples. Daghang kayong samples ito sa DepEd order. Next. Sample of summative assessment tools. I just presented an example for language and math, no. You have there the written outputs. You have there the performance task, no? So mo na ilahang performance, mo na ang mga sample diha nga mga assessment tools na imong ihatag. Next, sample summative assessment tools for languages, no? Online distance learning. Previously presented, previous slide that was face-to-face. This one is online distance learning. Next, this is for digital printing, printed module learning, TVI, no, RBI, and others, no, or homeschooling. Mo po ni ang mga assessment tools na ginagamit. Next, so what you are seeing now, these are actually examples of the annexes, no, the forms. So ito yung sample na self-monitoring tool. So you have there, this is for the learner para sa mag-aaral. Unsa ilang na-experience ba aning atong modality karon, isa-isa nila diha Lunes, Martes, Miyerkules, nasa mga answers diha na mga questions, no? I cannot read on the screen, no? So next, ang next ani kay tong parent, no, naipasa ba unsa ba to ana man tong mga questions nga naa diri kuyo kay na i-check lang sa parents. Ya masahod gid ang teacher kay blanco lang gyud, so siya gyud ang mosaysay diha sa tanan, no, kung sa iyang mga pag-evaluate niya, pag-monitor niya sa mga learners, sila mga experience. So nadia sa letter C, no? So you can write your comments, your evaluation pertaining to the learning modality, performance sa bata, ibutan nimo diha. Di na po'y assessment ang parents. So kung tanaw nimong self-monitoring tool, both ang mag-assess ani ang student, learners, parents, and teachers. However, it is highlighted there, it is not mandatory, it is not required, but it is highly recommended. So good for those schools who apply this one. Or I know, I believe you have already your different mechanisms on how to get the feedback from the parents and from the students. Next. So the other annexes, we have here the rubric. If you have a lot of questions for the rubric, if you are not, some would use rubric and some would use rubrics. But in our DepEd order number 31, they use rubric. But previously, as mentioned in the previous pages, no, nag-mention po dito rubrics, no. Both, no, they are correct, no. Daghan lang mga authors na rubric and rubrics, sample integrative performance task, sample self-monitoring tool, 3-level model of feedback, matrix of sample tools, and you have also there the guidelines for teachers in determining the appropriate performance tasks for the learning, for a learning standard, and ang pinakabaga nga na-add ani enclosure 2, classroom assessment book na from kindergarten to grade 10. So meaning to say, if you have questions, if you still have, no, a lot of doubts, no, wala mo kasabot unsa mga classroom assessment naa dito, daghang kaayo pila na ka pages, murag sobra siya 100 pages ang classroom assessment book. That is why this DepEd order is 256 pages kay gi-include gyud nila ang book sa classroom assessment. Yun ana ka reach of knowledge, no, ang ato ang DepEd, ang ato ang department, no, in terms of providing possible na di kita maka-question ang teacher nga unsaon ni unsaon na, no, mag-unsa ta na kay naa gyud provided in this DepEd order. Ang kulang lang nato maybe the time, no, of scanning this one, of reading this one, and maybe kulang lang pud tag pagpasabot. And next, that ends the presentation for this afternoon. That is DepEd order number 31 series of 2020. So I just presented some of the salient points, no, in the DepEd order. Now if you have questions or doubts, no, you can read, you can refer to this, you can download this one, no, DepEd order number 31 series 2020. Okay, so good afternoon once again and thank you so much.
Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Norman Argalabo, for a very, I will call this a comprehensive because I believe it has 256, I guess, 256 pages. Yet your explanations comprised all the necessary things inside the DepEd order. Once again, thank you so much, Dr. Norman Argalabo. For some questions, you can shout out your questions, our dearest teacher participants, while our speaker is still here. And I think he will be happy as if you ask questions to him. I will just count 1 to 10. Teacher participants, your question please. Parang wala sir. I believe na-understand na lahat ng explanations mo. Okay? Do we have question? Okay. I think Dr. Galapo did not have questions about your topic. Are you happy or sad? May I know your feelings right now? Okay, let's have our shout out. Let's start with our active participants since in the morning. We have Daniel Osevillano once again. Congratulations, Dr. Norman. Okay. All right, I believe that we are done with our first session in the afternoon. And from that, Cluster 6 is through an ancient and recognizing the efforts and dedication of our speaker for this afternoon. And from that, we will award the certificate of recognition to our speaker. Please allow me to read the citation of the certificate. While waiting, I will have a shout out again from Maria Lourdes Ponting Madelo. Madelo, good afternoon, watching here from Tagakpan National High School. Dr. Norman, kindly greet our teacher participants while waiting for your certificate.
So again, shout out to my co-teachers at Mintal Comprehensive High School and the Senior High School Department. So I know na ay mga uban nga naga-duty din sa Picas campus and some are doing their task no at home. Kuya jo kay ang certificate kay gikuan gid ni siya naka-frame na ni.
Naka-frame. Again, let's award the certificate of recognition and
Pila ang cash ani gani?
50
Ay
kay
wala.
taga
Wala.
Raman Kaunay.
Mali ang
A
spelling sa certificate. Ah, okay ra di ay.
certificate of appreciation is awarded to for his invaluable contribution as speaker during the Cluster 6 in-service training or INSET held on December 16, 2020 and Facebook live streaming. Given this 16th day of December 2020, MCHS Aguila Hall, Davao City. Signed, Dr. Junito O. Galan, DSDS. Ladies and gentlemen, certificate of appreciation is awarded to Dr. Norman R. Galabo.
So thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you so much, Sir Galan, for this opportunity. And of course, to my principal, Doc Leah Camilotes.
Thank you and congratulations, Dr. Norman Argala. This point of time to explain to us the evaluation links, let us welcome the Cluster 6 Monitoring and Evaluation Coordinator for us to be guided as to how, as to when, as to why we are doing such thing. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome virtually Dr. Darwin Polido. Sir, good afternoon and welcome to our Cluster 6 INSET. And for everyone, to our teacher participants, don't forget to register in our attendance link and have a photo together with our live streaming. And kindly put the hashtag Cluster6Inset. Again, let's also all welcome virtually Dr. Darwin Polito. Sir, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Sir Jason. No? Very um, energetic host for today. No?
Thank you.
So I remembered your hugot lines this morning. No? That was very, very effective. So I really enjoyed um, those lines. Okay, anyway, good afternoon, everyone, to our viewers out there. And my courtesy to our SDS, Schools Division Superintendent, Reynaldo Guiliana, CESO 5, who gave a very inspiring message this morning. And of course, to our ESDS, Dr. Jinky Ferman and Dr. Marilyn Didoyo. And my salute to our PSDS, Dr. Junito Ogalan, for always making Cluster 6 a cluster of excellence. Indeed, it is a cluster of excellence because it is composed of a powerhouse school heads. That includes our host for today, Sir Jason Reyes, who is the school head of the ULA campus. Okay, and my task today is to discuss to you our evaluation tool, as explained a while ago by Sir Jason. Why we are doing this. First, uh, this is very great help for our future activities and our activities today because your responses will be considered as significant for the improvement of our activities. And I'd like to remind everyone, since you have already, we have been doing this already, right? Um, I'd like to remind everyone that please, as much as possible, answer all the items, right? So all the items, do not leave any unanswered portion. So if you have noticed there, please can you scroll down. So this is our link for the evaluation. This evaluation is actually provided by the division office. So that means to say the measurement and evaluation team of the division office of Davao City has a direct access of our responses, but of course we will be, of course, confidentiality of your responses will be treated with utmost care. So meaning to say we will not divulge your names, of course, and so the this evaluation tool, so you have later on you will see all the contents of this. So again, as I have mentioned a while ago, make sure to answer all the items, all the questions that are provided. Of course, first your email address is being asked, so do not forget to enter your email address, of course, your school where you belong. And since we have supposedly this should be a 4 day um, activity, right? But due to problems with internet connection yesterday, so it has moved today. And I think also that we have intermittent connections with other, I mean, with in your place. However, but still, we continue having this activity. So instead of 4 days, we'll be having this for 3 days. So the 2 days will be intended for the cluster. So this is the tool that you are going to use. So starting today until tomorrow, so the documentation team will provide this later after the this session for today. So, and I think there is no time, unlike before, no, we limit the time to answer the questions. So we made it open because we understand that some of you cannot access this due to some intermittent connections of your internet, probably. And so just make sure that you can able to answer this evaluation tool. Okay, so the right, so the sample is being provided in your screen. So this is the tool. Again, this is the tool that you will be using for this day and for tomorrow as for the cluster-wide activity of our INSET or EMPRE. And we also have our second tool. I know for sure that all of us has started working with our LDM2 course, right? So probably some of you have finished already working with your portfolio, I think, and you have also provided. You have finished answering all the questions, the activities, and of course all the outputs that are needed to complete your portfolio. And I have seen some schools have already had their like a graduation. Congratulations, right? So despite with our situation, our we continue with our mission as being teacher of the Department of Education. So the second evaluation tool that you are going to answer is this one, the one that being shown on the screen, the evaluation for LDM2, instructional coach, and of course, after this, you have the evaluation tool LDM2 for the LAC leader. For the instructional coach, this refers to our school head, our principal. The very reason why we are having this, and for everyone to know that I think it is only in cluster 6, no? We are the first to have this. Although some of you might asking, nganong napamaning tool na naman to daghang questions ito sa LDM2, no? So one of the reasons is that we want to have our, we want to contextualize the evaluation tool, and according to Dr. Jan, and I quote, no, it would be very difficult for him as a PSDS to based only uh, the data from from the feedback of the principals by merely talking to them or by listening to the teachers. Having this tool, our PSDS as well as our school heads would have a better understanding of how LDM2 course has worked in each and every one of us in individual school, and this would also help our PSDS to to give technical support, no, to improve in giving technical support, especially to our instructional coach and as well as to our LAC leaders. So the first one, the instructional coach, this tool will be answered by all the LAC leaders. So this will be provided in every school because I think on Friday, no, basically on Friday we will be having our school-based INSET. So you will be working. You're expected to work with your LDM2 course, collecting all the possible data outputs, working with your learning activities. So this tool will ask the LAC leaders on the support, the technical support that the instructional coach has provided to the LAC leader. So there are several items that you have to answer. Again, I'd like to remind the LAC leaders to make sure that you have answered all the items, especially the open-ended questions, because this is very important. This would really help the cluster 6 to provide an improvement of our in the conduct of the LDM2 course, especially on the support that has provided or that will be provided by your school head and of course by your LAC leaders. So again, you have there the technical support and guidance. Okay, there are several questions, And you also have um, okay, the mentoring engagement. So the mentoring engagement of your instructional leader during the conduct of your LDM2 course. And we also have the item on the professional attributes. So each of those, there are actually four indicators, and each indicator has five items. This has already been checked by our PSDS. Okay. And we have at least two open-ended questions. This is the one that I told you to please consider these questions. Please do not leave these questions blank or unanswered, because this is really, really important for the M&E to provide a better data to our PSDS, to our cluster 6, and of course to the school head. So I'd like to remind also the LAC leader, when answering this tool, do not be worried, because uh, confidentiality of your answers will be treated with utmost care. So as I have mentioned, the first one to answer this tool are the LAC leaders in reference to the instructional coach. And then we also have another tool, although the same content, there are no changes, but it only matters on who are those respondents. The second one is for the evaluation on your LAC leader. Definitely you have your LAC leader, right? You have conducted several LAC sessions. Some of you have done it virtually, and some of you have done it physically, because you have the opportunity to meet together during your on-site schedule. So on the second tool that you are going to answer, um, in reference to the LAC leader, this is now where the teachers would answer the tool. So again, for the for the tool for the tool in reference to the LAC leader, the teachers or the members will be the one to answer that tool. And I'll be contacting after this one the your assigned uh, person for collating this data, and how you can submit also this data, because each school will also have a copy for this, so that you will also have your own data for your consumption, and of course so that you can also see what improvements can you make after showing the result of the evaluation conducted by the members as well as the LAC leaders with respect to the instructional head. So for further clarification of this tool, you may uh, message me, or you may ask your any from your principals, or even from the documentation team. So they also have the idea for this tool. So once again, enjoy watching, listening to our inset today and for the rest of the day. So God bless everyone.
Thank you so much, Dr. Darwin Polido, for the input you have given to us regarding with evaluation. So again, I would like to emphasize that there are separate evaluations. We have for the INSET and we have for our LDM. Am I correct, Sir Darwin?
Yes,
Oh,
Sir Jason, thank you for that, Sir Jason. No, the evaluation link. I forgot to mention this one.
yeah.
The evaluation link for the division, because we'll be having a 3 day. Although we do have our school based, but still you have to answer the evaluation link provided by the division. So because it has already uh, how do I call it? They have already patterned that evaluation tool according to our uh, matrix provided to them. And of course, for the Friday, so meaning to say, dalawa yung sasagutan ninyo on Friday, the evaluation tool for the division, and that the evaluation tool in reference to your evaluation with regards to the instructional coach, as well as to the LAC leader. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much. Very clear again to our teacher participants. Our speaker mentioned very clear on the in reference to our links. So I hope that you are clear with that, and we could give our full support this coming Friday regarding with our evaluation in both areas for the division level and of course for the school level for the LDM. Thank you again, Dr. Darwin Polido, for your inputs.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sir Jason.
And this time, of course, we appreciate the efforts and dedication of our speaker for this afternoon. And for that, we will award a certificate of appreciation. Please allow me to read the citation first. Certificate of Appreciation is given to for his invaluable contribution as speaker during the Cluster 6 in-service training or INSET held on December 15, 2020 via Facebook live streaming, given this 15th day of December 2020 at MCHS Aguila Hall, Mintal, Davao City. Signed, Dr. Junito Ogalan, PSDS Cluster 6. Certificate of Appreciation is awarded to Dr. Darwin C. Polido. Again, thank you so much, sir, and congratulations and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
This time, we will witness the audiovisual presentation of the Special Education Division of Davao City Best Practices, presented, of course, by our dynamic Public Schools Physics Supervisor, Dr. Junito Ogalan, in the national level as a representative in the entire Mindanao. Ladies and gentlemen, let's all watch this.
Davao City is the crown jewel of Mindanao, a city of progress, a city of peace, a city of promise, and a child friendly city committed to improving the lives of children. Davao City, life is here. Davao City is the urban center of Davao Region. It is considered as a premier city of Mindanao. It is the world's largest city in terms of its land area. It is strategically located in the Asia-Pacific Rim, certain gateway to both western and eastern hemispheres of the world. The schools division of Davao City is divided into three congressional districts, which are subdivided into 11 administrative districts with a total of 182 barangays. This highly urbanized and independent city is one of the fastest growing cities in the world and declared as one of the 10 Asia City of the future. With a population of over 1.1 million, the city is run by the powerful leadership of local chief executive Honorable Sara Z. Duterte. Division of Davao City continuously grows with its total number of 1,689 learners with disabilities with medical diagnosis, 502 with intellectual disability, 395 with autism, 389 with learning disability, 207 with hearing impairment, and 7 learners with multiple disability and language deficit. All SPED learners are currently under the supervision of the school's competent SPED teachers who are exposed to different trainings and workshops about handling learners with special needs.
For the past years of its public service, the Division of Davao City has been a known advocate of inclusive education. It has consistently been supporting children with disabilities and financial constraints who live without access to a basic human right, the right to education. Hence, SDO Davao, a division where inclusive education is being implemented with competence and compassion, has organized the urgency to address this problem and therefore guarantees the right for these children to receive appropriate education within an inclusive classroom setting. We aim to end all forms of discrimination and foster social cohesion with the support from school staff, students, parents, community, and stakeholders play an essential role in sustaining inclusive education and in providing support and resources to meet the learners' needs that go beyond what is typically available through schools. My courtesy and respect to our DepEd Secretary, Honorable Leonor Briones, Regional Director of Region 11, Evelyn Pitalvero, CESO 4, Assistant Regional Director of Region 11, Maria Inesi Asuncion, CESO 5, SDS of Davao City, Rinaldo M. Guillena, SASO 5, Miss Jesselyn de la Costa, Region 11 SPED Coordinator, fellow educators, advocates in inclusive education. Good morning and mabuhay. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you the best practices of the Vision of Davao City in establishing collaboration and partnership to sustain inclusive education for special education, provision of equipment and facilities, teachers training and development, employment of learners with disabilities, free diagnosis of learners with disabilities, innovation of curriculum, programs and activities of learners with disabilities.
Provision of equipment and facilities. In Davao City Special School, cochlear implant class has been implemented. Originally, the school then was established to cater the learning needs of learners with intellectual disability, learners with attention spectrum disorder, the GTFL, and the hearing and visually impaired students. One of the latest programs offered in the school is the cochlear implant class. Cochlear implant is a surgically implanted neuroprosthetics device that provides a sense of sound to a person with severe sensory hearing loss. It is an electronic medical hearing device that replaces the function of the damaged inner ear. This device is quite expensive, which causes a parent to spend more than 1.2 million per year. This undertaking was realized through the initiative of Father Jozo Sato and Mrs. Marilyn D. Pena. The Audiological Center envisions to provide hearing assessment to all children with hearing disabilities in Mindanao. In November 2011, the realization of cochlear implant program in Audiological Center began with the approval of the budget proposals submitted to one UTAC party list. The launching of a geological center paved the way to the initiation and implementation of various programs and activities such as medical missions, division-level seminars and trainings for teachers, having deaf children, and free hearing assessment to all children in Mindanao. Subsequently, the Wheels of the World, in partnership with Joni and friends through Davao City Division, have extended its provision of wheelchair to one of the athletes of Region 6 during the 2019 Palarong Pabansa. Our stakeholders are not exclusive. Even in its service, inclusivity is highly considered. Thus, no one is left behind, no matter what place you've been and what race you belong. Teachers' training and development. In the light of holistic advancement, SPAD Davao City, with the rock solid partnership among stakeholders, make things happen. It can be attributed to the heads on, and minds on experiences of SPAD advocates in its respective endeavors. Seminar on movement method and sensory strategies teachers training made possible by Phoenicia Foundation Incorporated in collaboration of local government of Davao City and Parent Mobilization Action Group at NCCC Buhangin, Davao City. Seminar workshop Supercharging Teaching Repertoire Handy Tips in Making Deaf Classrooms Inclusive by Benilde SDEAS, Benilde Deaf School, Rizal Sped Center, and Cebu Pacific. Pediatric Massage Therapy Training for Teachers by Sharob's Pediatric Massage Therapy Advocate Incorporated, trained by Little Kids Foundation in the United States of America. Poster training for teachers and learners with special needs. Training on Unified English Braille. Bloom software training for teachers. Above all, such selfless experiences create not only multifold opportunities but also meaningful imprints to the lives of our SPED learners. Employment of learners with disabilities. In the vision of Davao City, learners with disabilities don't have to be held back by anything these days. With countless assistive technologies and support from their teachers, employment has become visible to everyone. Dedicated worker. Eileen, a person with Down syndrome, employed as front desk clerk and housekeeper. She knows her dedication at work while working at Green Windows Hotel, Davao City. Trainable cuties. Christine and Michael had their on-the-job training at Anflacor, Lanan, Davao City. Welcoming smiles. Kim, Colleen, Ping, and Sarah worked as front desk clerks at Pearl Farm Beach Resort, Island Garden City of Sama. Dedicated men. Rick Robin Cagnaan, employed at the Vice Mayor's office as an encoder. Successful entrepreneur. Aban de Asis Beldat, a cochlear implantee, owns business of rice mill and pharmacy. Sporty manager Colin G. Regis, a cochlear implantee, works as a branch manager of Penang's Davao City. Cheerful instructor Prime Truya is a deaf person. Despite of hearing loss, he is a Zumba instructor and at the same time a member of Davao City Dragon Boat team. Devoted worker. Pops Cuateros works as an encoder of Department of Social Welfare and Development at Mintal, Davao City. Genius analyst Rastaman Landero, working as data analyst at Willis Towers Watson. Creative hands Dan Paul Gonzalez, a deaf and visual artist of our very own President Rodrigo R. Duterte. Math expert Arke Rono, a deaf with cerebral palsy, is now a successful geodetic engineer. Jason Santino, a person with cerebral palsy, appointed as a mangrove steward of Department of Environment and Natural Resources. Truly, we in Davao City continuously provide equal opportunities for all. Free diagnosis and assessment of learners. Private individuals and institutions have been consistently offering help to diagnose and assess learners with special needs. Neil O. Bangis, a licensed occupational therapist and owner of MindWorks Therapy Center, gives free evaluation for LWDs in Buhangin Central Elementary School and free consultation not only to the teachers but to parents as well on how to handle behavior concerns since 2013 up to present. Jubilee Foundation shares and renders services and free assessment for speech and at the same time extended help to the SPED teachers through consultation. Davao Doctor College gives free checkup and assessment concerning eyesight problem and they provide free eyeglasses. Resources for the Blind also provides free checkup and assessment and provides eyeglasses, lenses, and other materials to aid our LWDs, especially in the mainstream setup. Center for Brighter Beginning and Phoenicia Foundation give free developmental pediatrician assessment and medical checkup for LWDs, especially in the autism community. Free occupational therapy assessment by TheraCare and Hope in Life Therapy Center Tibau Cure for cerebral palsy learners. Innovation of curriculum. Learning will never stop. SDO Davao City has been thinking of ways and innovation to continue the learning of the children in partnership with stakeholders. In fact, Davao City is known for the Crisis Intervention Center Balay Dangupan. The CIC Balay Dangupan was the project of former Mayor Rodrigo Roa Duterte, presently the President of the Republic of the Philippines. The center had housed parents who cared their daily life skills routine. Psychometrician is someone who will take care of children in terms of their psychological attitudes, and registered social workers who kept their records potentially confidential. The CIC Balay Dangupan caters children living with special needs, those who were potentially neglected, victim of child trafficking, physically and sexually abused children, sexually in terms of rape, act of lasciviousness, and incest. So the clients still in the custody of the CSSDO. Previously, the center sent the clients to its respective schools, but the perpetrator chased them and to the extent hurt them. That is why the center looked for some remedies to make their clients be safe and secured. They came up with a plan, requesting the Department of Education to be a partner. After the different stakeholders convened, the Department of Education sent permanent teachers last September 4, 2018 to cater the learning needs of their clients who were assigned in the center. While inclusive education emphasizes that no child shall be left behind, the House of Hope stands that no child should die in the dawn of life. House of Hope is a temporary home for children with cancer. Through a project of the Rotary Club of Waling Davao and in coordination with the Davao Children's Cancer Fund Incorporated. Hospital Bound Educational Program. The program, which started in 2013, has the main goal of bringing education to the cancer patients undergoing treatment with SVMC. According to Dolendo, the program is open even to outpatients who do not stay at House of Hope. Because the program is in partnership with the Department of Education, different public schools have been partners of the program. For their seventh year, the hospital bound educational program was in partnership with the nearby Dumanlas Elementary School. Three teachers were exclusively deployed in House of Hope to teach kinder to grade 6 children lessons that are based on the curriculum approved by DepEd. The program makes it a point to really teach children as much as normal children are taught. This is in recognition of the fundamental right of children to education and in accordance with the Millennium Development Goals of the Republic of the Philippines. Meanwhile, the certification body of TÜV-SÜD Asia Pacific certified that Mintal Comprehensive High School, Mintal Tugbuk District, Davao City, has established and applied a quality management system for provision of inclusive education for junior and senior high school with certificate registration number TUV 100054257. Proof has been furnished that the requirements according to ISO 9001:2015 are fulfilled, and the certificate was awarded by sales executive of the TÜV-SÜD PSB Philippines. Being the first comprehensive high school in the entire Philippines to be certified by ISO 9001:2015 standard reflects the true nature of the school as a team set to go out to attain any pinnacle they set their eyes on, and more excellently, go beyond every expectation. To be ISO certified means the learners, parents, and stakeholders can have confidence that schools are indeed committed to delivering outstanding customer service. In terms of programs and activities of LWDs, one of which is the annual SPED Camp. This activity is supported and sponsored by the local government unit of Davao City through the leadership of Mayor Sara Z. Duterte. In partnership with other stakeholders, Mang Inasal, Mondanisin, Grupo Hire, Lamoyan Corporation, and Bureau of Fire. This is an annual 3-day activity that aims to develop the learners with disabilities aged 15 years old and above. This provides an experience of living away from the comfort of their home and the care of their parents. Here, they are trained to live independently. It hones every learner's potential. The activity is not limited to skills development such as cooking, munchkin, pastillas, waffles, preparation of food, beverages, arts and crafts such as t-shirt printing, paper bag making, bead making, hair accessories making. But it also includes socialization, such as campfire and masquerade ball. And most importantly, they have undergone training on what to do during an earthquake and fire. Another activity that is supported and financed by the city government of Davao for 19 years is the annual division and regional fun day activities. It caters to different types of exceptionalities to be exposed in literary, musical, sports, academics, and developmental activities to develop their cognitive, physical, socio emotional, language, and self help skills. Truthfully, these were such an amazing experience for learners with disabilities.
School community partnerships can be a strong and needed support for schools while also providing a reciprocal benefit to the community partners. Strong collaboration and partnerships support schools in the present, while the benefits to the learners may continue long into the future. The vision of Davao City will continue to recognize and respect learners' basic human right, the right to education. No learner was left behind. No learner is left behind. No learner will be left behind. Let us always keep in mind inclusion is a belief system. It begins with a trust that every learner has strengths to build upon, interests to share, and experiences to honor. According to Morbia Gooden, inclusive leadership is about recognizing and valuing diversity or difference, and valuing people, recognizing them for their skills, experience, and talent, and treating them equally and fairly, irrespective of their ethnic background, gender, age, sexual orientation, religion, belief, or of any disability they may have. Para maiwasan ang diskriminasyon, inclusive education ang solusyon.
Thank you so much for a very nice audiovisual presentation. And for the information of everyone, Dr. Junito Ogalan represented Mindanao in the National Online Training of Regional Offices and Division Offices Supervisors on Inclusive Education and Special Curricular Programs with the topic Best Practices of the Division in Establishing Collaboration and Partnership to Sustain Inclusive Education. Marching and with greater heights, the school's division office of Davao City, together with the local government of Davao City and its committed partners, shall unceasingly turn the Department of Education's vision and aspirations into reality. Again, I would like, of course, to congratulate the person behind this. We have our AVP chairman, Anisito P. Neri Jr., the production manager. We have Maria Lucille Mejias, the production coordinators, Maria Christine Mejias, Cristil Joy Fernandez, and Jmar Parantar. Our scriptwriters, we have Sir Anisito P. Neri and Maria Lucille Mejias, with a video editor, Christy Estandarte, and the voiceover talent, Maria Christine O. Mejias, and the videographer, Cedric Sardito. Truly, our teachers are really talented. And of course, with the support, with the guidance, and with the knowledge and skills of our PSDS, Dr. Junito Ogalan. Thank you and congratulations. Cluster 6 teachers and school heads are really proud of what you have achieved. At this point of time, let's hear, of course, shout outs coming from our teacher participants for this afternoon. Okay, teacher, you can have now your sharing of feelings, emotions right now. And don't forget to take pictures of yours together with our live streaming with the hashtag Cluster6 INSET. Okay, we have a hashtag from, and this is to inform in advance, no attendance, no evaluation, that means no certificate. So in other words, we need to register in our attendance. We need to evaluate the trainings at the same time, our coming activities, so that we could receive certificate of participation. Okay, we have our shout out from Ma'am Lailani Kanyatitan. Congrats, Sir John Galan. Thank you, ma'am. And of course, congratulations to Sir John. We have from CJL Sonsona. Thank you, Sir Norman R. Galabo. Okay, we have representative from our school head. We have Sir Elmer Suarez. Salamat, Doc Norman. Another shout out from Ma'am GMG Bacus Penpenya. We have also shout out from Ma'am Denmel Paraculios Arances Bulleros. Thank you for a very informative day one of INSET Cluster 6. Yeah, truly. Day one are full of insights, realization at the same time, our future activities. It really help us to pursue our endeavors. All right. Another shout out coming from June P. Neri. Wow. Thank you, Docu Team. I am very much proud to have you all. Wow, ang sweet na naman ni Sir Neri. Another shout out from Sir Ariel Dango. Pa-shout out sa iyo, sir. Ano pong isa shout out ko, sir? Ano pong isisigaw ko? Congratulations, Merry Christmas. We have from Sir Michael Muega. Hello, Sir Mike. Okay, the shout out of Sir Mike. It is great to see LCENS who have succeeded and are succeeding in their chosen field. Congratulations po. Yeah, truly. We have from Sir Natonton of Los Amigos. Shout out to Sir Lister and Ma'am Mel on the technical side. Yes. Thank you, Ma'am Mel and Sir Lester, and of course to our all docu team. They're really great, doing a great job for this day. I hope for the coming days also. Okay, we have from Ma'am Helen Garcia Reyno. Mabuhay ang Cluster 6 INSET 2020. Talagang mabuhay, ma'am. Dapat buhay na buhay talaga tayo especially we are now facing COVID-19. Maria Lucille Mejias. Congrats, Jason. Bright kay ka, Beshi. Thank you, Lucille. Ginawa niya ito para tomorrow naman, yan din ang i-comment ko sa kanya. Pero I will not do it. Okay, we have Sir Jemar Parantar, gahot ang tagaula. Ay, ganun. Thank you, Sir Jemar. More shout out. Congrats, Docu Team, Sir Jason, Sir John, for a great job. We have also from Ma'am Flora May Toledo Filyogan, hashtag Cluster 6 INSET. And Ma'am Cheryl Garden, congrats sa host. Guwapa kaayo. Thank you. Again, this is to emphasize, no attendance, no evaluation, no certificate. So sayang naman no, nakapag-attendance tayo kayo na pero wala tayong evaluation, so still hindi po makakatanggap ng certificate. So what we will do, we need to register, evaluate so that we could receive our certificate of participation. Links are now available on our screen for the evaluation link and for our attendance earlier. So please now evaluate our training for today. So tomorrow we will have our closing program in the afternoon. So we will expect awards, of course, given to each school. So once again, thank you so much for giving your time for our in-service training 2020. I hope that we learned a lot of things. We learned so much for today. And to all our participants, congratulations in advance. And that concludes our afternoon session. Wishing everyone a fruitful afternoon. Stay safe, be healthy. We are all in this together. Thank you and God bless you all.